of the Jedi.
The Jedi. It's like we got a phone call. Somebody saw the Jedi floating down.
They never. I'm surprised they never did that on an episode of Howard Stern. Like during the Channel 9 era, there was never a Return of the Jedi skit.
The Jedi. He's like,
whoever stole it, whoever found it, return the Jedi.
Le Jedi.
Le Jedi, yeah.
You're like, why do you yell at the intern?
Check out Harrison Ford's face. And then Chewbacca.
He's like,
but Chewbacca's like snaring.
He's like,
Chewbacca looks like Seth Rogen there.
He does, and even C-3PO looks like he's like,
yeah, that's a great shot.
What a shot.
Harrison Ford is like, at the end of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, there's the scene where like the hat rolls and then Shia LaBeouf picks it up and he's about to put it on his head and then Indiana Jones grabs it, puts it back on his head. And I swear, like, I remembered him saying, like, not yet, kid, or something. Like, I remember it, but he doesn't say anything. He's silent. He takes it, puts it on his head, and then he turns around and gives him this shit-eating grin. Harrison Ford gives, like, the greatest smile. Like, this guy who's, like, known for just
being a
curmudgeon and scowling gives the biggest ear-to-ear smile. And he probably, a really great moment. Like, great moment. But I'll bet there was kind of a real thing of, like, him and Shia LaBeouf, where it's like, you think you're taking over, fuck you.
Think again,
from my cold dead hands.
You can have this fedora when you pull it from my cold dead hands.
That's the highlight of that movie.
I got to zero in on that.
Yeah, that big shit-eating grin he has at the end.
He's like, Mutt even pierces his one ear. Like, he's like, I'm just being like you. Callista didn't give you that.
Yeah, why didn't they get him to play Han Solo in the Solo movie?
Oh my god, that would have been like Harrison's like, quit. He's like, you're Kenny Banyaing me or whatever.
Well, after The Irishman, like now they could have Harrison Ford play young Han Solo in one of these movies.
They really could. Like we saw some de-aging in the trailer for the...
We're not talking about Jackie the Joke Man in Return of the Jedi. We're talking about Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And right off the bat, I saw this in the theater. Such a great memory. Went there with my whole family. We were on our way to the shore. We were going to go to the shore, but we were going to get in the car, go see Return of the Jedi, and then get back in the car and like drive to the Jersey Shore. So great memory. One of those, the Imperial guy who was flying the shuttle, I think that was Richard Marquand, the director.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I was a kid, we were watching this movie, and you see the Death Star and you see the destroyer coming in the shot, and I leaned over to my dad and I said, "Dad, I think they're playing the wrong one." Like, I thought they were playing the first Star Wars. Like, they made some... Like, in the projection room, they had, like, 3 canisters that all said, like, Star Wars, and they grabbed the wrong one and put on the first Star Wars.
That is a great thought, though, because you're like, oh, no, Dad, I want to stop. I got to stop this before it gets too...
Right, before we get too deep into... Before we reach the point of no return. They got to know, it's like, the sound's not working, or what. Like, you put on the wrong Star Wars. It is really nice watching this... in this sort of like HD widescreen, seeing all the details. I love the floor.
Floor is awesome,
and that was like the big thing for the third of the J.J. Abrams Star Wars movies. They paid so much attention to the floor, and they had all these low shots. You got to see a lot of floor. And I'm like, that's the Star Wars floor. That's the that's the scuffed up. Death Star floor. Yeah.
And it's kind of like a matte look to it.
Yeah, it's got like a little bit of a sheen, but there's scuff on it.
And it reflects the lights really nicely. I remember like after, in Return of the, in Empire Strikes, I was always paying attention to the floor because after Luke fell through that trap door, I'd be like looking for it all the time. Mm-hmm. And then in, when they're on the, jumping ahead to the desert skiff, I was always worried that like, I'm like, how does he fall into the Sarlacc pit? Oh, it's the plank.
The plank, yeah. I think in, maybe the video game version of this, or one of these, it was like they had some kind of contest where you could, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but where you could be, if you win they put your face in the video game as one of those like Imperial guys.
Oh
who
my
Darth
god,
Vader yells
that's
at.
awesome.
I maybe I might be remembering it wrong, but like right off the bat, you have that it's that scene that it starts off with just feels like really kind of like to me there's a lot of wasted real estate in this movie. Like you think about the first Star Wars and you think about Empire Strikes Back and how like every moment mattered and counted, and in this it's kind of like Darth Vader shows up at the Death Star in this long it starts kind of feeling like Star Trek the motion picture or something, but like Darth Vader shows up and then is like, you better get to work and finish this Death Star because I'm pissed. And guess what? The Emperor's even more pissed than I am. And then it's like the next time you're on the Death Star, it's the Emperor showing up and he's like, guess what? I'm pissed. You better get this show on the road because I'm pissed. It's like a little redundant.
This feels like a hangout movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of open space in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's like I feel like they, a lot of great little bits. Like the Jabba the Hutt stuff is a great little bit. Nice whole piece of business. The conversation with that little Ichuta.
Jabba.
No Baga, no Jabba.
Now for me, like I saw this like for the first time on VHS.
Yeah.
This movie actually came out the month I was born.
The month you were born. I was going to say, I wasn't sure if you were born yet when it came out.
I was a few days old, I think.
Okay, yeah.
When this came out.
I mean, for all you know, maybe they took you to see it.
I mean, definitely took my cousins to see it.
Yeah. So we saw this in the theater. I'm old enough to remember seeing this in the theater,
And May '83 is when I think Gamorrean Guards.
I mean, aside from that little, hiccup of me thinking that they were playing the wrong Star Wars movie, that they were actually playing the first Star Wars movie, I was loving every minute of it. And the Jabba the Hutt stuff. It's like, oh, there's that guy. And also back then, they would sort of prime the pump with the toys. You'd see so it's like I knew about Bib Fortuna. That he was going to we might have already had the toy before we saw the movie. And I'd seen pictures, paintings of the Gamorrean Guards and stuff. So it's like, oh, there's that guy, and how's he going to fit into all of this? All that slime on the Gamorrean Guard's face.
Love it. And we had like the Return of the Jedi like storybook version, and we had Empire Strikes. We had a storybook for all of them.
Yeah.
So I would read. My mom would read them to me over and over, and like the cover had Luke with the green lightsaber, and there was I can still shots, so I could absorb like Weequay or like those guys on the skiff. I didn't see any of the Star Wars movies in the theater until the special
editions, yeah,
which was exciting.
It's nice seeing it in widescreen too, because I saw it a million times on VHS in pan and scan.
Yeah.
So like there's that one shot we just saw where there's like a Gamorrean guard in the extreme foreground on the far left. He was completely gone. Like he was not in it, And I haven't seen this movie very many times since the VHS days, just because it's like it's only the special editions. Like and also, it's kind of always been like my least favorite of the trilogy. And so, I haven't made it a point to see it, but it's like, also, the special edition changes are egregious in this one and A New Hope. Empire, not as bad. I mean, I still prefer the original version, but...
Yeah. With Empire, it's like, at least they have like a practical Wampa.
The practical Wampa is a lot of fun. I like that inclusion. Still prefer the original, but I like that inclusion. And then they make Cloud City a little airier. They put in some windows and stuff on Cloud City,
which is neat.
Yeah, but again, prefer the original. But this one, it's like they obliterate the or George Lucas. I should blame George, but call names out. George Lucas obliterates the musical scene.
Oh, it's cringe alert.
Yeah,
it's like
and see there, like the extreme foreground of Luke's hologram. That would have been gone too.
You missed that.
In pan and skin. I do own the DVD of the 3 originals, that like bonus DVD from like 2005 or whatever, where you get the unaltered version. So I'll have to pull this out. I'll have to pull this out and watch it on there sometime.
It is neat too with the subtitles down in the. I like it down in the
under the screen. Yeah, in the
really
black
cool.
bar. Man, it is nice seeing all the creatures. Like the Jabba, the whole Jabba palace thing is just like so great.
much fun.
Yeah, it's just like the Death Star stuff is like a little bit sterile, like inside the Death Star. The Ewok stuff gets a little tedious, or like the Endor stuff in general. Like the Ewoks are all right, but like there is some tedium on Endor. But then the spaceship attack is great. The lightsaber duel is great, and not as good as the Empire lightsaber duel, but it is like, like we want closure. We want the cycle to be complete. We want the story to end, and he does end the story, and he does end it in a satisfying way, and in a surprising way too.
EV-99 burning that poor droid's feet. I was like, he's like, no.
You're a feisty little droid. Yeah, there's the medical droid. Like, they just sort of take the old props from previous movies and are like, okay, let's
wouldn't it be nice to get like I Am Groot, we do the Total Recall like sound effects for a droid. Like,
you are a protocol droid. You are a feisty one. I think maybe this is also Richard Marquand. It's like the voice of the robot. Or maybe he was puppeteering that robot. Yeah, they pulled the medical droid apart. I used to have all those names memorized, like all the letters and numbers. Do you remember the medical droid?
21B.
21B. Okay, because there was like the 21B. There was like one medical droid that was kind of like an octopus.
Oh,
and then there was like the blue medical droid with that guy.
That guy.
And so he's 21B.
I think he's 21B. That could be EV-99.
EV-99 and. Do you know that like octopus medical droid, what he's called?
I can't remember that guy's name, but what a great look. Mm-hmm. And then there's ones like 8D8 or something.
8D8, yeah. Yeah, some droid torture. 8D8 is probably the octopus looking one. That would make sense.
That makes
8D8. So yeah, we got the dancing girls and stuff.
It's like the walkie-talkie in E.T.
Man, I love the Cy Snoodles puppet, the whole band, the practical puppets, and the CGI stuff.
Max Rebo,
the Cy Snoodles and the Rebo band.
Jizz music.
Like, and you only get like in this special edition version. You only get a second or two of the original like practical.
He desecrated.
Yeah, see, like around here, we get a shot of like the original like movie stuff, and just the atmosphere, all the kind of smoke and the feel, like, and it is like, they had the smoke machine going, or like the people were chain smoking or something, like it was all this great depth that you just don't see in movies.
Yeah, and like it's the way it's lit. Mm-hmm. It's not like weird like overlit like CGI. Mm-hmm. It's like natural light reflecting off of like a latex Muppet, like nothing.
Yeah, with like ooze and slime all,
super
layered
slimy.
Onto. I gotta say, like, you did get to see this in the theater in the special edition, but like
not the original.
It was some event seeing this for the first time, and like I have memories of it that are like realer than real, and where it's like, I feel like, oh man, did they change it when they brought it to video? Because like those frogs, that are in his bowl, I just remember them with like such crisp detail. Like you're kind of like looking into that bowl.
It's like, I'm like, that could be good to eat.
With Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, it's like, oh, it was kind of weird seeing like Indiana Jones being like a little bit scary. Like he was kind of scary when he was dealing with Lao Che in the first one. He's like throwing like a flaming shish kebab at somebody.
So much fun.
Yeah, but it was like, as a kid, it was kind of like, oh, like Indiana Jones is my buddy. Why is he? And then there's the scene where he like gets hypnotized. He turns evil.
Super
and then
scary.
He's like beating up Short Round and stuff. That part was extra scary, and it is kind of like, when like, your dad gets that look on his face and he's not messing around anymore, and it's like, your buddy is kind of scary now,
Shit. Like, the, I think we might have mentioned this in, like, the Dial of Destiny episode, but there's some deleted scenes from Temple of Doom where Short Round sees, like, lava or something fall on one of the, guards.
Okay, and sees him
out of his trance.
Breaks the spell, so that's how he learns that if he hits Cindy with the flame, he'll
break out of there.
So, like, when I was a kid and I was seeing this for the first time, and I was kind of like, oh, why is Luke selling out C-3PO and R2-D2? Like, it sickened me in the stomach.
Exactly.
It's like, Luke, come on, these are your buddies. What are you doing?
Like selling them out that I'm like, that's lower than snake shit.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like a gift. These two droids, he's given Jabba the Hutt, his two buddies, but it's like it's all part of their rescue plan, and of course, like you're not. C-3PO is not a good enough actor to pull the role, so he has to like surprise him with that. He can't say like, okay, 3PO, I'm going to give you a like. C-3PO needs to be genuinely surprised when that's announced.
My cousins had like pretty much all the action figures. I really gravitated towards those a lot because I love action figures that have helmets.
Yes, yeah, and the Lando was the
Lando
best because
helmet.
he's got the helmet that comes off.
Yes, and Leia's Bausch disguise has the helmet that comes off, and like. So the Return of the Jedi line had a lot of great helmets, and
when you were a kid, since you had played with the Bausch toy, were you surprised when it's revealed that that's Princess Leia, or did you know that?
I knew that.
Okay, yeah. See, like for me, it was like I didn't know shit, So like going in, it was like, whoa, that's Princess Leia. Like I really thought that was some like. Tough bounty hunter who's playing for keeps, and then it's like, wow, it's
what a great reveal.
Well, that's kind of the big reveal in Empire Strikes Back of, I'm your father. But, most of Star Wars is kind of by the book. It's not a ton of surprise, like it's a lot of variety, a lot of cool things, but like Return of the Jedi kind of like hinges on reveals and surprise reveals. So like the first time you see it, your mind's blown by like, wait, Princess Leia is your sister. This is what Darth Vader looks like under his mask. Bosch is Princess Leia. Like these are all great. Han comes out. It's all. But then once you've gotten that surprise, then on subsequent viewings, you're just kind of focusing on like what you're seeing, and so it's like it loses a lot because so much of it does hinge on surprise reveals. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
About Han coming out of the carbonite, you got that the Thing credits. Special effect to get him out. Great. I'm shocked they didn't do some new CGI update of that.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad they didn't.
One of the biggest things in Star Wars trilogy is the carbonite. Mm-hmm. I was always like. That scared the shit out of me from Empire when he gets frozen in there. Really freaked me out.
Yeah, well, I mean, the acting, everything, the music, everything really sells it. And, I saw Empire Strikes Back in the theater. And, I was just a little kid, but I thought that was it for Han Solo. I thought you were never going to see him again. I thought he was dead. So when he comes out in here, I was shocked. Yeah. Never in a million years did I think I was ever going to see Han Solo out of carbonite again. I thought he was just dead. Like that was basically like his coffin.
That's what why I still like it in when I saw Return of the Jedi too, because I was like obsessed with I'm like, what is carbonite? Mm-hmm. How is he feeling in there? And then when he melts out of it, it's like when they were like, you have what was it, blindness?
Yeah, it's the carbonite poisoning. You have carbonite sickness. The carbonite poisoning. It's taken your eyesight away. It will come back. Who are you? Someone who loves you. Someone who loves you.
It's carbonite poisoning. You'll lose erectile function. He's like, for how long? It's like 48 hours.
And when he sees Luke and he's like, how are things going? Same as usual. That bad, huh?
I like
all
that.
These lines, great lines.
So, yeah, in Empire, I'm like, whenever the mist starts to shoot out down in that thing, I'm like, he has a chance, he can jump out. I'm like, how long's it take?
Yeah. You basically see Han Solo's death scene in there, and then you see Luke fall in later, and you see the mist come in. You're like, oh shit, that's it for Luke. And then poof, he does something you never expected you'd see in a million years. Him like
fly
springing out of there like Superman.
Also, I loved when the C-3PO or R2-D2's feature of firing the lightsaber out of the top.
Yes, great feature. And so then we had that toy that did that.
Yeah, we did. We did that on the Recall Teeks Roadshow.
Yeah.
We should do another one of those.
Yeah, we should. The only tough thing about that is like when I get like a new toy, I just want to open it right away. I don't want to save it for the air.
I've got some preferred stock.
Luke 3.0. Like when Luke shows up in Return of the Jedi, it's awesome. And he's in this, and again, it was a surprise to me. I didn't know who that was. Some guy in a cloak, and then he's like doing all this Jedi stuff, like
right here.
You know, wait a second, that's Luke, and it's like Luke has like a whole bunch of powers that he had, that have developed since the last time we saw him. He is like a full Jedi master. And it was just so cool seeing, and like from then it was like I had the Empire Strikes Back Luke action figure that I played with a million times, but then it was like, I gotta get that Return of the Jedi. I gotta get that guy in the black cloak who's
what a look.
Like I used to walk around like that too.
That's so cool.
Become a what were those monks that like put out an album?
Oh, the Benedictine
monks that would chant. Yeah, because that's the outfit he's rocking.
We do. It's called a recall. I was gonna call him Rizzo the Rat.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, because this is like we talked about it in it's Salacious B. Crumb. We talked about this in the Labyrinth episode where it's like Jim Henson wanted to make Star Wars movies and George Lucas wanted to make Muppet movies. So like these are genuine Muppets. Like the Jim Henson Creature Shop contributed to the
Jabba's palace.
Jabba's palace, yeah.
Because I love when Salacious Crumb's like Jabba's tail's like moving and he's like
you're watching it. Yeah, great performances. That's what's cool because there's like improvisation and actors playing off of each other. That's the other thing. Like I look because I was always so Star Wars obsessed. I'd read all the fan magazines and stuff, and learning about like the making. It was like super hot. They're wearing these incredibly intense, thick masks, and like you had those. The octopus face guys and squid face and stuff, and they said that like they would have to, like between takes they'd have these like special blow dryers that they put in there just to like blow cool air.
Oh my god!
Because it would like you'd basically be suffocating during the take, and then it's like cut. Oh, there's Dengar.
Oh, we love Dengar.
Yeah, Dengar shows up.
We get a Gamorrean guard snack for the Rancor.
Rancor was like, oh man, this movie was just so much fun. Like so much fun from start to finish as a kid, and like everything was a surprise. And it's like you never saw anything quite like that in a Star Wars movie up to this point,
Nice.
And it is like, okay, we want like a Ray Harryhausen style. Like it's not Ray Harryhausen technology. He's not stop motion. They tried a bunch of different approaches. But
how they do? I still don't know how they achieved the Rancor.
Well, they were gonna do like they wanted to do like a Godzilla thing where they were just gonna get a guy in a suit, but they said like the proportions, it looked too much like it's a guy in a suit. So what they ended up doing was like a puppet, like a sort of marionette. You got like all these like armatures and things inside
that's fun.
that they're operating, and then a guy operating the puppet head, and then they would film it. They would overcrank. So that he'd be like in slow mo, look very ponderous. And it just works. Like, when's the last time you've seen something like this? One thing you see in the special edition is the compositing is improved. So, when there's like, the edges would be like a little hazy and kind of messed up, and sometimes like translucent, in the rear projection. And it seems like they sort of clean it up. It's more
definitely
solid.
Did. Now that you mentioned it, looks more seamless.
Yeah, I mean, I still prefer the unaltered, but...
Me too.
I don't know if you ever saw it. Like, I did a picture of Luke versus the Rancor, and I kind of had the whole tableau. So it's like Luke down here, like an old line. So it was like Luke down here, the Rancor here, and then the bottom of the, the great, where you see all the Jabba court kind of looking down. Just kind of taking all these little shots and scenes that you see in this sequence and just putting them in one image.
That I remember, that looks amazing. Oh, I was kind of disappointed too. I was like, there's a little escape hatch, and then there's those goons are on the outside.
Great staging, and then that joke where the Rancor keeper is like crying.
Oh yeah.
That like brought the house down. That was everybody's cracking up at that one. And
it gets a laugh.
Yeah, it gets a laugh. And
Malakili.
I just thought of him as like Rancor keeper, but like the that was like Roger Ebert's big takeaway from this movie is this scene where the Rancor keeper cried, where it's like his thing was like everybody loves somebody, like everybody's somebody's baby. One of my favorite toys when I was a kid was the Jabba the Hutt play set
Oh, nice.
Like I saw the commercial, I was like, I gotta get that. The Jabba figure is really cool. Lots of nice detail, transparent eyes and stuff.
Wow.
And then you turn his head and his tail kicks, and you can like knock people over. He comes with
Salacious
Salacious Crumb, and then he sits on his throne, or you can like move him onto some other platform, and then you twist one of the little gargoyle heads on there, and it opens up into like the Sarlacc pit.
Dude, you know,
No, not the Sarlacc. It was not the Sarlacc pit. The Rancor pit. Yeah.
Dude, Lego needs. I think they're due to give the Jabba's palace the same treatment they did to Mos Eisley.
Yeah, I think they do have like a Jabba's palace that they put out for the Boba Fett series.
Oh wow!
Because Boba Fett in the Boba Fett series, like he takes over the vacant Jabba's palace. Yeah. Here's Max Rebo playing like a slower kind of jam.
Yeah, they took the party on the road.
Right. Yeah. It's like Jabba is like Gatsby or whatever.
Yeah.
He's got these like house guests who just never leave, and he just wants to keep the party going. And it's like, okay, yeah, now we're going out on my yacht.
His yacht, yeah.
And we're gonna kill some people for fun.
Yeah, like you can see a little bit of like haze around Chewie's fur, which I like.
I grew up here, You're gonna die here, So great. Like, yeah, like I really like. For the first time in a while, I'm like flashing back to the first time I saw this, and it was like everything was so fresh. Like I really like was in love with this movie for such a long time, and that would be like during like the VHS days. That would be the thing where I'd like walk up the street to the video store and rent this, almost every weekend, and then just watch it over and over again. And it was the one I kind of watched the most at a certain age. It was like because it was the newest, it was the freshest. Like the other ones are a little older. This was the freshest one, and it just has this great happy ending.
I know.
Like the ending is such a
And then they changed it up.
And that's the most unforgivable part of this of the re-edit or whatever is like the ending of Return of the Jedi is so special to me, and like when Anakin shows up. And it's like,
I get choked
yeah,
up,
exactly.
Brother. I get choked
and it's
up.
like they took that away from me. It doesn't.
How fucking dare they?
And I love that figure. Like when they came out, like it was like a special offer or something you would to get like the Anakin Skywalker Force Ghost figure.
I remember that. And then didn't they like change it to Hayden Christensen?
They changed it to Hayden. I think if we're gonna have to fast forward to see it because I think I've only seen that once.
Oh god.
And it's like. I get so angry. I get so
and then the Sarlacc looks like a squid.
Well, because I understand why George was disappointed in this and that and everything, and it's like okay, but it's like they talked about this in one of those Quentin Tarantino podcast episodes. Him and Roger, and Roger was saying Roger was talking about the THX 1138 remaster, which I haven't seen. Like that. Lucas in like the early 2000s did a version where he added a bunch of CGI and new scenes and stuff to it like this, and Roger was in favor of that, but he was like, but the difference between that and this is with Star Wars they took the original versions out of circulation, and that's the sin.
That is definitely a sin.
Yeah,
like. You want to like fuck around with it, fine.
But don't delete. To the point where we are like 8 years after Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, and you still can't get the original version. Like you'd think it could just be like a little extra little square in Disney Plus, but you can't get the original version. And again, I don't know if he signed some kind of contract or something.
That's a like,
do you have like a widescreen VHS or a DVD of the original version? Like, can you watch the original version if you want to?
Yeah, I've got the VHS tapes that are
widescreen.
That are widescreen, and it's the black box and it has that message I keep mentioning where it says like this is the final time they will be released in the original version.
And you always think that's like bullshit, but they really weren't fucking
He
around.
wasn't kidding.
Wait, is it the one? It has like a hologram on the front of the box. There was one box set that had like a hologram on the front. That was where it was like the first time I'd seen the widescreen versions like since the theater, but before the special editions.
This one it has half of like Darth Vader's face on it. It's
yeah, I know that one. It's like a smaller box.
Yeah,
but it does have the widescreen. My dad, like they were selling them, and my dad bought the full screen versions. And when he brought them, like I wasn't home, and when he brought them home, my sisters were like, "Tom's not gonna like this. You got the wrong one."
They knew.
They knew that I wanted the widescreen.
I cry all the time.
Oh, the death of Yoda. Yeah.
He's like, and it always makes me sad when he's like, "To lie, to sleep." No more.
Yes. Again, it's like, it's poignant stuff. Like when you've seen it a million times, then you're kind of like, okay, why did Yoda have to die?
Why?
Because like we had this great Yoda scene, like all these great Yoda scenes in Empire, and then we just have this like one little scene, and Yoda dies, and there's not as much like fun business. There's not as much business going on and stuff. And it's like, what? But like the first time you see it, it's like, oh wow, like Yoda's dying. This is bad,
Whenever Yoda showed up in that Ryan Johnson one, was that Last Jedi?
So fun.
I started like tears were.
Yeah, it was like, hello,
down.
old friend.
Yeah,
and it was like the Yoda, even though the Yodas that we saw in the prequels it didn't feel like, hey buddy, welcome back. And I guess also since it's a prequel, it's like, but to see Yoda like after the events of Return of the Jedi come back and him and Luke get a reunion, it is.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I was like, it just.
That was, I was beaming. Like, when the lights came up on The Last Jedi, and I was there with a couple of friends, and the lights came up, and I was like, dancing in my seat, and big smile on my face, and I thought that, like, my friends were going to be, like, on board with me, and I looked to my left and my right, and, like, they were not pleased. Geez. They were not happy.
That's my favorite of that trilogy.
Is it? Okay, mine is still The Force Awakens. I love the third one. Like, the third one is almost like how Return of the Jedi was for me for a while, because it was just like, it's like the capper, it's the freshest one, it's the newest one, it's like the glossiest one, it's the most, state-of-the-art one, so it's kind of like, I've been watching that one a lot more than the others. But like Force Awakens is just like, it's so great, it does everything. But I do love the Ryan Johnson one. It's just like Force Awakens just kind of hit me like Force Awakens hit me like here, and then the Ryan Johnson one hit me here. And so like it's like when something hits you in the heart, you're gonna love it more than something that you kind of like really enjoy on like an intellectual level,
And like that must be still a thing with like the shitting on the Last Jedi, because I overheard today somebody was talking about like Ryan Johnson, and somebody was asking like what he did, and then it's like brick glass onion and that Star Wars movie everyone hates.
Yeah, like that Star Wars the Ryan Johnson one has gotten a reappraisal, and I think like now that the dust has cleared, I think now the consensus is that one's the best one. That's become the consensus. Yeah, but I mean I still prefer Force Awakens. Like I prefer both JJ ones. I prefer Force Awakens, and I love Rise of Skywalker, but I think Rise of Skywalker is like just hated. It's hated. It's tough when you're the one that has to end the story. When it's time to end the story, nobody's going to be happy. And I think that was like a big mistake just with Star Wars across the board. I think it was a mistake with Jedi. I think it was a mistake with... I love Rise of Skywalker, but I think it was a mistake to be like, oh yeah, the Star Wars movies are trilogies, and it's 3, and you... Like, I think they should just be this like sort of never-ending series of movies, which I guess maybe they are. But like, and that, it shouldn't be like, okay, we're at the third one, time to wrap things up. Like, I think if they were kind of like, okay, look forward to Star Wars, 4 or what, or Star Wars 10 or whatever it is, it would have been regarded differently.
Yeah.
The speeder bike chase is great, and I remember seeing the Siskel and Ebert review before I saw the movie, and I'm like, what, like seeing all this green in a Star Wars movie, like, and the camouflage outfits, and then seeing like, wait, there's a new kind of stormtrooper. Like I remember, when they had the snowtroopers, and that was so cool. They got some other kind of storm, and he's got a cool looking helmet.
went probably like 10 years ago now to the Redwood Forest, and I was like just thinking Ewoks were gonna jump out.
Yeah, and in this, like, I remember the Siskel and Ebert thing, like where Gene or Roger was like, "Now how come they didn't just fly above the trees?" And stuff. And I was kind of like, "Come on, guys,
It's a movie.
Yeah, why don't they climb above the trees?" Well, because that would be boring if they were like, it's kind of cool that they're about, that's like super dangerous what they're doing.
Not uncinematic.
Yes.
I love the sounds from this scene, like the speeder bike noise.
Yeah.
I like how after they pass, it's like some kind of like horns.
Now, also,
I know he had a role in The Kingsman.
Okay.
He plays. It was exciting just to see him play a guy.
Right, like not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, not Luke.
I know they were all set for life
God.
after Star Wars. They were set for life. That George gave everybody a piece because it was like a non-union movie. He felt bad because it was, such a big hit or whatever. So he gave like everybody a piece, and so they're all just set for life.
That's so awesome! Holy shit!
They gave him points.
Points.
That was where I
My
first learned what
God.
points are. And I remember reading like an interview with William Shatner in Starlog, and he was talking about that, and he was just in such disbelief. He could not imagine, like giving somebody points. George Lucas, what a sucker! Spock. Let's fast forward to the end. Like we can back up, but I want to see the Force Ghost. And you'll get maybe like you'll see me get super angry. Like
we can watch you.
This will be my reaction because it's been a while. Just talking about it is kind of like bracing myself for it. Like you probably won't get my full reaction. Kind of like ready like I'm in, but it's so angering.
This is gonna really like,
man, and the whole ending like just so works for
exciting.
like when Darth Vader's face turn and like seeing Luke suffer and stuff like that and it just so works for me. And I love that like this this Star Wars or whatever, it doesn't like end with somebody. It's not a revenge movie. It's not Revenge of the Jedi. It doesn't end with like fuck you. It's like I am going to surrender and Dad, like if you want to kill me, you can kill me, but I love you and I'm gonna be by your side and help you to the end, and then that works. Like I think that's beautiful. That's like a beautiful ending, and where you could imagine like an ending where like he cuts Darth Vader's head off. And that,
he's like suck on these nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they, it's a beautiful thing. Great ending and funeral pyre. Just so great.
So great. I'll have to send you the holiday Yule log. That is the Darth Vader Yule log.
That's such a great shot. Yeah, I love that shot. Rise of Skywalker. They did sort of like a version of this edited version. Where you see like everybody across the universe.
Crap.
Yeah, like cheering for the death of the Emperor.
Yeah, just when
I wonder what's happening on Naboo. Like again, like a movie, it's like you create like a little world. You don't have to, you don't need to show all this stuff.
Another thing, like he's releasing got the special editions. Just when say you watch them in order, you just cleanse yourself of like the prequels, and then it loops you right back to the beginning.
You see them knock over the statue of the Emperor. Yeah. The new song is like Yanni bullshit. Yum yappity doo, a deep day day noo na, hochi dochi doo da, yub.
Oh, I love the helmet drums.
Dum da deebity doo. Everybody's got their like nobody in the Empire, nobody in the Alliance can dance. They all have these like the worst moves ever.
Han Solo's doing, or Chewbacca's doing the Elaine from Seinfeld.
Wedge is doing the Roger Thomas.
Chewbacca's doing the robot. He's like, or the Cabbage Patch. C-3PO's doing the Cabbage Patch. There's Wedge.
Wedge, yep, with his Luke Skywalker hair.
So like, why do they call you Wedge? And he pulls his underwear out, puts it over his head. No, he doesn't. The C-3PO for some reason he has like tiny whities.
Here comes. Get ready. Oh my God! I think
I'm gonna fucking puke.
You're gonna see me turn into the Hulk. This is
it's fucking disgusting.
He looks like it looks like Pauly Shore materialized. It's like Ben Kenobi, Yoda, Pauly Shore
from Son-in-Law.
The Wheeze.
The Wheeze. How come Sir Alec Guinness was talking about
that?
Fuck! Did you see that? Did you fucking see that?
This is probably the second time that I've seen that, and because the first time I saw it was like,
I'm so fucking sorry.
Mad,
that's sickening.
Oh, so awful.
So awful.
I guess there's somebody out there who that does something for.
I saw
like on Disney Plus. Like they make you like input your age for like like they need to have it set up so that if you're like over a certain age, they gotta show like the old version, and then if you're under a certain age, then they show Hayden Christensen.
What's the guy's who's fucking running the show over Disney now? He came back to the fold. I can't remember his name.
Iger.
Bob Iger. If you're listening, Bob Iger, I know you're viewing it from your mom's basement. Or whatever. Bob Iger, you sicko.
So we watched Return of the Jedi.
Sorry to end on that. Jesus Christ.
I'm going to need some time to recover. But anyway, you heard it here, folks. Return of the Jedi. Check it out.
If you haven't seen it, you're going to like this.
I probably spent, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, between $20 and $30 for like my copy of Return of the Jedi. That's like the original, DVD widescreen. So money well spent.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna dig out those classic VHS tapes to find George Lucas's freaking like ominous promise on the back there.
Yeah, his threat.
We
love you, George. By the way, we do love you. Thank you for all.
Thanks for this.
We can like complain about the stuff because we love it.
Yeah,
so much.
That's how we show love.
Yeah, that's our love language.
Your beanbag.
I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life, The King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli or on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
Follow me on Instagram at cinema_tomb.
And check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli, and you'll see a bunch of comics that I've been working on over the past few years.
Follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show.
And we'll see you next time. We need an effect where, like, Pauly Shore's ghost shows up next to it.
Wait.
Hachi-do-chi-doo-dum. Yup.
Wheeze.
The Wheeze. Here he is, the Wheeze. Also known as Crawl. The opening Crawl is his character from Son-in-Law.
I'm gonna